Hi, it's Neil Thomas here from Wedding Help NI, and this is the Wedding Banter podcast. It is a bit of fun with some wedding vendors, and I'm going to get you to introduce yourself so you can work away.
Yeah. Hiya, I am Melissa. I'm photography by Melissa, a wedding photographer based in County Armagh.
I'm Mandy Ritchie, married by Mandy, and I'm a humanist wedding celebrant.
Hi, and I'm Karen. I'm Essence Photography based in County Down, and cover all over the north and the south and further fields you want me to go.
I'm Wally, and I'm the owner's daughter of Basil Shields here in Tassa.
Hi, I'm Megan O'Neill. I'm a wild leader and decor company based in Armagh.
Perfect. Right, first banter question. We're going to a wedding. How much should we put in the card? I think there's money now. We go with in cards, isn't it? They don't see many gifts anymore, you know.
No, definitely not.
The big gift list like people used to have years ago.
Years ago, that was massive, wasn't it?
I think it was more people were setting up their home when they got married years ago. Now that not everyone has their house, and you know they've already got that ticked off.
So what are we thinking then? What are we putting under this card? Or we got what's
me? I would be 200.
200.
I would be 200.
I'll say 300. Yeah.
I agree. I would also possibly want to buy them something quirky. You know, I know
That's
money.
quite nice
money,
too, like,
you know,
isn't it?
And one of the things I love is to buy somebody a plant for their garden if they have a garden.
Yeah.
And there's a lovely tree, believe it or not, called a wedding cake tree.
Right.
It's unreal. It really is beautiful, and when it comes out and it grows, it looks like a wedding cake. And it's quite expensive. It's not a cheap thing to buy. And that, I think, is a lovely gift, because if they're getting married, they can plant it in their garden and they can watch it grow every year. So that's sort of maybe not being stingy or anything. I'm not being stingy, but I think it depends on who they are. And my relationship to them is
And you want them to have something to remember.
Well, something that's always going to be there too. If you know, it's something you can always remember too, isn't it?
What about you, Neil?
Well, you know, I'm very tight, mate. So what they put just a card up there as well.
the card.
I give them a poster just with a picture on it.
A lottery ticket.
A lottery ticket. You know. But no, it definitely is one of them questions now, and it's something you see in the group all the time.
It is, it's always talked about.
I honestly, one of the things that I honestly think is, I think after COVID, things become a lot more expensive, and even you know the hotels. There was actually a hotel, and I'm not going to name it. It was a hotel I went on and I was getting dressed in like a sort of office, and they had the prices up, and it was just somewhere that I wouldn't have thought would have been that price. Yeah. And I thought, my goodness, that's what they are ahead for a wedding. And you know, you would have been one of them places where I would have thought, well, what they could, that's not covering. That's
a lot of people probably don't realise.
No, I think that's so scary. Like, you know what I mean? You know, so definitely do think. You know. Next question: big wedding, fee, small wedding. What do we prefer? What are you thinking? Photographers?
I'd be torn. I love both.
I love both.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did do a smaller wedding last week, and the candids is what I love, trying to get, you know, enjoying your drinks reception and everything else. And the smaller weddings, they tend to space out.
Yeah.
And then there's only so many candidates you can take without like duplicating.
Yeah, and I know
what you're saying.
Making them nearly uncomfortable sometimes if you'd have to do another loop.
Whereas a big wedding, like you can sort of hide and mingle in the crowd and get sneaky things as well, which is fun. But honestly, both, like, it's really hard to choose.
I think they both definitely have I think it's more the personality of the couple, of which it suits, than their bigger, small wedding suits.
I think the smaller weddings, all the guests nearly become like a bigger bridal party, and you sort of seem to,
everybody gets to chat.
You can really mingle with them. Like, you know, like I was in Galway on Sunday night at a smaller wedding, and you know, normally I get a picture with the bride and groom. I got a picture with everybody. So stuff like that, and you know, everybody was part of the wedding. The flat, you know, do you know the way, like if you're at a big wedding, 150. Nearly the back tables, just, you know, they're nearly making their own crack and stuff. Yeah. But everybody felt part of it.
And a smaller wedding, it's because everybody don't mean everybody shouldn't be there at a big wedding, but at a smaller wedding, everybody is handpicked. It's their actual nearest there.
It's so nice.
Well, big weddings could be 300 people. Like, if you had 300, say bride and groom, their hands are going to be sore and I'm shaking that.
I saw a couple who decided to do the line-up being introduced to people at the door of their chapel on the way out. Why have you been introduced to someone on your wedding day?
House, you know, we lanced there, we're doing a wedding in the north, 8 o'clock. being on at 7, well, how are you getting on? Right. I'm absolutely, I'm not a minute to myself. I'm not a minute to ourselves. And then even when you're talking, I'm suddenly say, well, how are you doing? I would say.
And they're going on, they're pulled away again.
Look, get me wrong, big weddings are brilliant. You atmosphere. And then you have your smaller wedding, and maybe it's maybe a bit more relaxed.
You have more time at every stage of your day because you're not.
Bruce, you have a bit more time to themselves because of done them on shows. Then again, big ones are brilliant cracking. I've been as a guest, like, and all your friends are there and people you haven't seen in ages.
Yeah, the energy is just electric. Like,
it definitely is. I think you touched on a great one there. The handshakes after the thing. For photographers, is that something you should be doing away with? Or
Especially for big weddings, like that handshake.
Takes up so much time.
Especially in the winter, because your light just goes.
You're fighting against the time.
Especially in December, if you're nearly coming out at 3 o'clock, you're going to have no sunlight.
You can say chapel out church at an arch outside it, like, right, come out. 15 minutes. I have to get the sauce.
You need to get it moved on for the top table of the venue.
Let Melissa, she's going to do it. You know, a few photos, mum and dad's on it, and I said, half an hour later, they're still shaking hands.
And it could easily take half an hour to make bed.
And then it's maybe then someone's forgot to shake their hand, so they come to that. And then it's the one that shakes their hand, and they just don't shake their hand and nod. They talk to them. Is he getting on?
And no one else can get out the door past.
Yeah, we want to not they're looking around.
And the bride and groom honestly spent like nearly 5 minutes talking to every single guest. And they had 200. So I had to actually go up and say, like, guys, you're going to have to stay
a long time.
Everybody's waiting to get a group photo on the steps of the church. So there's granny standing in the freezing cold. This needs to keep.
Well, whenever we got married, I think that was our photographer that had said, look, we had sort of always thought, ways of speeding up. And my wife had sung in wedding bands as well. So it was one of them things where we sort of knew the timing of the venue. And we really didn't want it to be, we didn't want like our first dance at 10 o'clock. We wanted it at 8 o'clock. And it was the photographer that said to us, look, do your greeting at the hotel. You'll see them anyway. You can say hello to them there.
At some stage.
And it was probably the best thing we ever done.
Popular now because I know we went a wedding 2 years ago and it was a December wedding, so it was cold outside. Bride and groom walked out and they were straight in the car. Everyone go to Castle Leslie, you know what I mean? That's and then in the castle, you know what I mean? There was a lot of fire.
I think the more traditional families, and if they're listening to the parents,
then they're
you have to greet your guests.
They nearly think parents think it's rude if you don't.
That's right. Good tip for brides and grooms is when you get your meal and stuff, you can go around individual tables.
After you have that time,
got everything done, and you've no pressure of time, and I think that's better.
And often because I'm not in a church or anything, I'm in a venue, so they're all there, so they know that they're going to meet up and sit down.
And I suppose they're all on site, so they're not doing that as much. Do you know what I mean?
And especially with the church and the chapels, they want the photos inside with the big window. So that's another part of time that need to be accounted for, because people think if for a chapel wedding, like every bride nearly always thinks it's an hour. And if you're doing a line-up and your photos after, it's a solid 2 hours. You're lucky if you get away in an hour and 40 minutes.
And then they might want to stop off, say...
There'll be a beauty spot somewhere.
Somewhere we get nice
that's one thing now. Whenever we get married, like it was like a military sort of like I think we were done in the mills at Harvey's Point at 7 o'clock. And like I do a lot of weddings there, and they're never on at 7 o'clock. But even it was we'd singer Secreto. And they done like a big conga line, and we sort of greeted the guests. And that was nearly the greeting time. So it was, but it was good to do that. I think it is something. If you're looking to save time in your day, that is one of the things.
Aside from the time, my biggest gripe in it every single time the groom's totally covered for makeup.
I never thought about that.
Single time.
Like coming over
and for a hug, and because the girls
are usually getting ready to go with them.
The girls who are hugging are shorter than the grooms. So it gets all down the shoulder.
I tan on the collar shirt.
Yeah. So every time.
And orange tie.
I do bring baby wipes with me.
In my car.
And I suppose that's one of the things too. You're getting ready, then they really go for photos.
And then they're covered in makeup.
I think my priority is to get the couple to their photos so they can get back and enjoy their
time
drinks in reception.
They put so much time and money.
Anything like drinks reception.
So much time and money into the planning, and a lot of the time it ends up for the guests, and they miss a lot of that if they do all the extra bits.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. If they do. I was at a friend's wedding. I was one of the groomsmen that was in Calby Castle, and there was a fella, Sean McGee, really good singing.
It's brilliant.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a song.
Yeah.
You know, he was doing the direction starts, and I remember my friend, put Sean McGee in. I actually got a really good price because he wasn't as famous as he is. I hope he is. Can't wait to have a beer. Didn't see any of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, you're all right, you know.
Yeah, I try and buy back time every stage of the day I can, so we can have that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know.
But that being said, now if it is late, it's always a photographer's fault, isn't
We
it?
get to blame.
See, you're setting up your DJ equipment. You've only got into the room at 8:30 now. We're just going to go for photos here. What time's the first dance? I haven't even got a speaker.
Pressure. No, we've been on the go for 7:30 this morning.
Right. So if you weren't doing your current role at a wedding, so if you weren't a photographer, if I wasn't a hypnotist, if you weren't a wedding DJ, Molly, what would you? Molly, you don't want to get involved.
I think I would maybe avoid
happy enough. Happy enough in hospitality. If we weren't, what role would you like to do instead? I
I'd love to
suppose.
be a wedding planner. I just love everything about the wedding day.
There we go. There we go. Wedding planner. If we were to celebrate, could you think of anything?
To be anything else.
Oh, there we go.
I am so happy doing exactly what I'm doing.
I really honestly just love my job. I think that's the best job in the world.
There we go. There we go. I don't know what I would. I don't know. Maybe
I'll become a
Singer deal with?
I would love to be. Well, I used to sing before, but like I wasn't a band.
Yeah, give us a wee number.
That's the reason now that I'm a hypnotist, because I realised that I couldn't sing.
Have you managed to hypnotise yourself?
Do you know what? I still do a song at the start of the night, and I'm sure the bands look at me and go, "What's your man doing?" Like,
I've heard you sing it, Dale. I've heard you sing it.
It's no way of hypnotising them to make you think make you think.
So are you going to mark the singing then?
It's all right. You just need to turn the backing song up a bit more.
Is that what it is? I always ask the bands, well, what do you think after? Like, and they start to give me a thumbs up, and there is.
Well, the song you do sing, everyone knows it, so it kind of helps. Then everyone can. Yeah, so everyone's singing it then, you know.
Right, the next question. If you, what would you be? What would
Hypnotist, Dale. Handy. No lifting heavy stuff, floors or anything. Just go and hypnotise them for an hour and get out of there. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's easy now, because I've seen you've had to work. Obviously, Dale has to work with people that's alcohol in them, and trying to tell them to concentrate to get hypnotised. Just sit there and just.
Or if you're too drunk, just don't take part in the show.
Some go up there.
They're probably the ones who are dead keen and go.
And then I'd one, and I've told this before. I had one night in Ballyluffin, and a person came up, and I tried my best to get them back down to their seat and not having it, like, and they fell asleep on the stage, or they fell asleep, and I couldn't get them woke up, like, Of course I couldn't get them woke up because they weren't hypnotised.
They were just still drunk,
They were just drunk, like, and you've done something, and I go, oh, here we go, here, and like literally for about half an hour, I was packing up, and there's something badly wrong here, you've done something. What do you want me to do here?
They were clicking their fingers on them.
About half an hour later, the band send me this video, and this person flat out in the dance floor. And I go, oh, I am away now. Full of life now.
You're getting accused bad review. Hypnotises people and they don't wake up.
Just puts people to sleep.
So Molly, you put off, you're happy enough to stay in hospitality, or is there a job that you would love?
I actually like the idea of photography. Even seeing videos like on TikTok now, it's a big thing, like seeing like behind the scenes and seeing the final shots, and they're brilliant. Like, it's just what?
Can you do more of that? You come behind me and record.
I'll be the content creator.
You're going to be the content creator, so you are.
I can hire you, Molly.
Right, so if you had to plan your own wedding and you were using only your own service and people at this wedding, or people at this table, how do you think it would go?
Well, just in this venue alone, it would be unreal.
We would be laughing.
From everything here, don't we really? With photographers, celebrant,
We would have
good
our
venue,
celebrant here doing a
hypnotist.
beautiful ceremony. I would have Melissa doing beautiful photos. Dale would do the evening entertainment. Molly's running the whole show.
And there we go, Michael's coming in. I think we're laughing already.
We're laughing, right?
That was an easy one.
What's your favourite part of the day as a supplier? What do you find your favourite part of the day is?
That's such a hard one.
No, it's easy for me.
You're well.
I pronounce you. That is just, it isn't even it's just an honour.
Yeah.
It's just, you've known the couple right from the minute they phoned you, right through. You've taken them by their hand and they're standing in front of you and I now pronounce you. And that is just, it's a shiver. It's a shiver.
Make me cry.
You know what's the egg up there?
So that's my favourite.
What are we thinking?
My favourite is probably along the lines of yours. See when a bride and groom at the end of the night come up, mate, shake your hand and go, Michael, that was unreal, thanks very much. And you go, look, we was happy enough. Honest to God, you saw that dance floor rocking all night. Or even if we got one in Belfast Castle, it was just mentioned there on Monday. We were hanging out and the bride goes, Michael, that setup was lovely, thanks very much, you really made our day, and you're very easy to deal with, like happy days, you know. Any thoughts of wee review, you know what I mean? And then you're just moving on, but it's always nice. You don't need, like, you know, even just see a bride and groom. If they're happy, just come up and go, look, Michael, thanks very much. You and it was one of the fellas with me, you know, helping doing the photo booth or something. Look, we really enjoyed the music, and Philip that was doing the selfie or photo booth, he was, you know, showing our guests and all where to stand. Thanks very much, loved the service.
Wait, whenever you see a review, I think that's something personal. Do you know?
Yeah.
You know, whenever there's something, you know, what was really easy to deal with, or you know, just, you know, like I had one the other day, and it was, you know, like nobody was sort of, you know, nobody was pressured to come up. Everybody took part. It was great fun. You feel that, well, do you know what?
Yeah.
You've offered a service. It's more than just taking a photo. It's more than just doing your
yeah.
show.
You know you're doing something right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know,
it does help when you know a bride and groom. You don't. That's not like you need to thank you, Connie. Just even. So don't maybe sometimes someone made me fit this thank you at the end of the night. You know, it depends what type of wedding it is. Do you know what I mean? Someone usually texts the next day going, Michael, didn't get talking to you there last night. It was held up there. Thanks very much. It was brilliant. Do you know what I mean? And then there's another thing. We would always text them. Well, look, hope you're happy enough with our services. 3 or 4 days after, and usually I think, hey, brilliant. Thanks very much. You know that.
One of the big questions I always see in the group is about who should be fed at the wedding in terms of vendors. Now, I know this straight off the back. I think videographers, photographers, and, you know, maybe a content creator, somebody there full day, but that's really the only people that I can think are there full day.
If your drinks reception is like, you know, part of the band or whatever, you know, that are there over dinner time there before dinner.
But I think unless you're there for the full day, like I never sort of
And I wouldn't
expect, you know.
expect a full wedding meal either. Like,
There's hours spent.
go and chill for like an hour, get my backups done, and go back.
I put on a lot of weights and see these evening buffets like you're looking warm at the night.
Michael, stay away.
I mean, even sometimes when you stay away from the buffet, then one of the servers, there's a plate for you, you know what I mean? And some of the food's just lovely, you know, an evening buffet. Be nice.
I always miss that.
Do you know what I mean? It's lovely. Like ladies and gentlemen, your evening buffets now ready. You know, servers bring it down, or it's over to your left hand side. You know, so yeah.
I think for couples, they shouldn't put themselves in a lot of pressure, thinking they need to feed.
No, absolutely not. No, you know, in there you're there. Obviously, photographers and stuff. You know, if you're there all day. But like for the likes of, you know, for a long night, I wouldn't expect, you know, someone to turn around and go,
if I'm only there like up until mail call, and haven't booked me into stay to dancing,
I know.
and
it's always offered, even if it's never really on to mail call, and every single time it's offered, and every time if I'm only on mail call, oh God, no, thanks very much. We'll hit the road. Like,
it's like I've seen couples like say, oh, do we need to get their gift and stuff? And like, really, we can't. But no, honestly, like a review, I find
review is more than enough. You know, there's plenty 24-hour shops there you can stop to get a sandwich. That's another problem I have.
A wee glass of fizz. Now, I do like a wee, and all my couples are very good, and they know that. And they say, well, after the ceremony, we'll give you a wee glass of fizz. I'm very happy after that. That's just raise a glass.
But as you say, like that review, when I go over to say goodbye, I always say goodbye before the first dance. I'll stay around like the first 3 dances and take those dancer photos. But see when they come over and they give you that big hug and they say, that's thank you so much, our day. It's so special. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see the photos. That's more than as a thank you.
And then when you're talking about buffets, say we're DJing, I'd say, you would say, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to turn the music down for 10-15 minutes, let your guests get a quick bite to eat. First thing I would do is go over to my bride and groom, look, happy enough with everything.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? It's do you know what I mean? So you're just checking in to make sure. Look, you're happy enough with the music. Something they turn around and go, "You're going to rave it up now." The second part, don't you worry. You haven't forgot about bits and pieces. You know what I mean? You've got bits and pieces. As soon as it's over, that's straight on. Don't you? You know what I mean? Well, thanks very much. You know what I mean? So yeah.
The next one, is it ever okay to wear white to someone else's wedding? That was a straight no.
Absolutely not.
I don't think a white suit would suit me.
I don't know, you might get away with it.
Unless one of the mothers is absolutely the only people, or a lot of the time now bridesmaids are in white, and that's beautiful. But outside of the mothers and bridesmaids, absolutely not.
Actually, had a white suit one time, you know.
Yeah.
Aye, I had a white suit.
What do people be thinking?
There was a girl last week at a wedding and she was in a white lace dress.
Oh, stop it.
I was like, what are you thinking?
No, that's a no.
She's might have got daggers all day.
And that would be something for me. I would always check with my couples as to what the colours are going to be. Because the last thing for me, not even only white, that I want to turn up is in the same colour as the mother.
No, exactly.
Right, so I can find out so that I
Sit away from it, yeah.
stay away from it and let them have their moment.
You say that I used to wear like nice midi length dresses.
Yeah,
flowy dresses. Like flowy dresses. Now I would wear something just like this. But I arrived at a wedding and I guess I was wearing the exact same dress as me, and I felt so bad for us. Wearing the same dress as the photographer. I just think, I want to go home and change. So now it's just black and a jacket.
What's the behind the scene moment couples never see but would be shocked by? What are we thinking? I think that's different for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it would be for us the amount of time we spend actually editing in the aftermath of the day.
Yeah.
Because like we just don't finish on the wedding day. Afterwards, we have so much to do between
The wedding day would be fun part.
the galleries getting a slideshow, even choosing music for a slideshow. I know. That's right, the worst. And then the albums after that. So we're still in contact with our couples maybe a good 3 to 6 months.
I'm maybe one text asking them, well, Melissa, are you happy enough with your wedding? Everything. And I have to go, yeah, it's brilliant. Any chance of a wee review, it'd be greatly appreciated. And see you kind of later. You know, thanks very much for bringing us. Enjoy your honeymoon. That's the only. That's
See
it.
the impact a good review has it now.
Oh, unbelievable. That's all of our
The
reviews.
impact a bad one
Big
has.
time. But I think we're all small businesses, and I think for that, like the reviews. It's
Well, that's even when a bride, say if a bride rings me and we're like, we're looking at a price of it, we give them a price and they go, sometimes it would maybe ring me and go, Michael, we're just, me and my partners looking at your packages. We look through your reviews and they're amazing. Sometimes they would say that. So reviews do we have from, previous weddings that we have done, you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's a new word of mouth, really is.
Yeah,
Big
absolutely.
time, big
you know.
time. So what's our thoughts on travel? Should, booking a venue that's maybe far away or booking a venue close? What do you think? What's your thoughts?
It definitely has to be considered in your timeline for your photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, it doesn't matter what time of year it is, so you need to consider what time your ceremony is, what time you have to travel to your venue, and then
Obviously, if your ceremony is in your venue, then it takes that thought out of it. But
Yeah.
if you're a church or chapel ceremony, then make sure you're going for the earlier time slot or the earliest that they'll offer you.
That's why sometimes we find when we're landing at venues, say is people from Armagh are getting wide in the south, like a good bit down the south. Then you're going in and says like, we'll be there for you, ready to go for an egg. Not even finished their main course. And you're maybe saying to the manager in the hotel or wherever, going, how he's getting on? I go, sure, they didn't land the X, Y, and Z. Because something like, a few people like stopping halfway down the road and getting a wee
And a lot of
sneaky
times,
right,
a lot of
I mean,
times, so you would find it's not even stopping somewhere down the road; it's stopping in a local bar.
you can't get there because
Go in with all their mates.
and then it's like that's again that comes back to the lateness, and then it just kind of then makes people's days shorter, if you know.
I would say again with that one, it's like a big choice would be on the cost for your guests having to stay over if it's really far away.
Exactly, because they're if they have to travel home, it can be.
And then another thing for a bride and groom maybe to factor in there as well is I don't mind traveling. There's a lot of like to a certain degree, but say somebody's just looking like a photo booth or something off us, and it's like I'm from Armagh, Clevey, Cass, Canal Court, all around here, even Ballina. We'll do that there. Somebody goes to me like Donegal, or they're looking something specific of me. Maybe some companies mightn't have certain. Sometimes I know some companies mightn't even have to travel out of Belfast or, you know,
Aye.
or not. Some people just refuse now to travel because there's not many weddings.
Yeah.
Like, not down in. They struggle then, you know, to get, you know, the vendors that they wanted because they don't need to travel that far.
Yeah, I've had couples who've chosen a venue maybe in the south, but then they've went to a chapel nearby, and it's not their local chapel, but area where they go. If you are doing the big travel distance and you really, really want the venue, I recommend keeping a celebrant.
Absolutely, thank you.
She's over so personal,
So beautiful.
beautiful. I had a humanist ceremony myself, and it's just everybody at our wedding said how unique and how personal it was to us as a
We're
family.
the same, yeah.
I suppose ceremony times have been going on that too as well, because you know, if the ceremonies, you know, if the ceremony's at 3 o'clock, you're really biting into your day. Like, so
How long would your ceremony last then?
Well, I would say my ceremonies are around 30 minutes.
See, often, you see again, that
Nice time.
sometimes you get, you know, you're in a chapel at church, you know, them, they can run on, you know what I mean, by the time, you know what I
And
mean.
then I get that some people have very close connections to the church and their family expects us
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And like the other day in Armagh, we were coming through, there's a wedding and they had 3 buses outside ready to go to where the reception is. I think it's somewhere down south, which I think that's maybe a good idea.
Good idea, yeah, absolutely.
the transport's important too, isn't it? Like, you know, because you know, to get your guests as well, so it's always something to think about, isn't it? You know? But lots to think about. I think that brings it to a wrap with our Banter podcast, with our episode 3. Thank you so much, guys. Well done.